Hey, fourth grade scientists! This week, our science target is that we will explain how an organism's adaptations help them survive in their environment. As we've been studying for objectives for the last few weeks about how organisms undergo similar life processes and have structures and behaviors that help them survive within their environment. So let's look at these structures and functions and behaviors. So what is an adaptation? An adaptation is a characteristic that helps a living thing survive. These adaptations might make it very difficult for the animal to survive in a different habitat. Can you imagine a penguin with that thick blubber trying to make it in the desert? Or that chameleon with its beautiful skin and love of warmth surviving in the Arctic? So that's why some animals and plants are found in one area, but not in another. Let's just explore types of adaptations. We've got physical adaptations. Those could be teeth, claws, feathers, hooves, fur. This is how an animal is built and made and how it looks in order to survive. There are also behavioral adaptations, which can be learned or instinctive. And that's how an animal or an organism will gather food, how it will find shelter, hibernate, defend itself. So let's look at some of these. First, let's talk about purposes for these adaptations, which one could be protection. This bee right here has camouflage. Its skin is a certain color, so it blends in with its environment, but also the skin of a bee, being black and yellow, warns predators that it could be poisonous. That's what the colors mean in the animal kingdom. A behavioral adaptation of a bee is that we've heard that a bee can use its stinger when the hive is threatened, when it feels threatened. But a bee, when it loses its stinger, releases this pheromone to warn other bees that there's danger nearby. So a bee is literally sacrificing its life for its hive. Then the penguin, we talked about having thick skin, that blubbery skin that helps it stay a little warmer on land where it's cold. But a behavioral adaptation is that penguins will huddle to keep warm. They'll all gather in near when they're extra cold. This desert plant has spikes that keep predators from eating it. And it also has a flower that will only open at night when it's cooler to protect the plant from overexposure in the hot desert. Another purpose for adaptations is how organisms get their food and their nutrients. An eagle has a sharp beak that allows it to hunt for food to get its prey. I thought this was a fun fact, that an eagle has such a large wingspan that it'll actually soar through the air using natural currents in order to hunt for its prey, so it could be patient, whereas other birds of prey, they tend to just fly and strike, but an eagle just soars. I thought that was cool. Okay, and now a mosquito. Its mouth is shaped like a straw, so it can draw in more liquid easier. But one thing I read about recently is that mosquitoes have this home range for their food. Some mosquitoes will only hunt low to the ground. That's why it tends to be that our legs get bitten up the most during the summer. And other mosquitoes, they prefer to be really up high, even up into the trees, and so they attack birds. And some mosquitoes like to stay close to their home. Within like a kilometer they'll hunt, whereas other mosquitoes will fly up to 40 kilometers away to try to get prey. And now let's look at a plant. We know that the roots, they grow deep or they grow shallow depending on where the rainwater will be, and it helps them soak up those nutrients. A behavioral adaptation is that the leaves will grow towards the sunlight. I'm going to show you guys my plant that I have here. And depending on where it's been in the sun, the leaves will grow towards the sun, towards that area. So leaves will actually change the direction that they're growing based on the sun to get the most nutrients. Another purpose for adaptations is movement. A shark has fins and a tail that allow it to move smoothly through the water. A behavioral adaptation is that they like to hunt at night. They're nocturnal predators. A monkey. It uses its tail for movement. It'll hang from the trees so it can swing through it and travel places. And it also keeps its hands free for eating and for protecting itself against predators. A behavioral adaptation of a monkey is that it'll travel alone if there's not very much food around. It'll just leave the group. And if there's plenty of food, they stay together. This water plant has flexible stems that allows it to move with water currents. And a type of behavioral adaptation of this plant is that it will either grow roots or just root hairs and short roots if it needs to. But to keep on moving, to keep on reproducing, it doesn't always grow roots. As you can see, our world is so incredibly interesting and diverse. There are so many types of plants with all these different structures and functions to protect itself, to move, to grow, to get nutrients. And same with our animals. Very different. They look very different. Their needs are different. And I just love our interesting world.